What are you saying, people? Hope you're good. Hope you're well. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the show. We've got a lot of the lads joining me today. Big up Dave. Big up Sam. Big up Ash. Big up Billy. Big up Liam. And we've got Locks joining us, man, because we don't know how long Leicester are going to be here for. I hope that we're going to see a lot more of them. But Ash and Locks are going to be teaming up today, representing Leicester and trying to give some faith as to why they could still be with us next season in this league. I've just said I'm going to kick Dave off now because I've just looked at his name and seen that he's put Tyrell Asprey. I'm not happy about that. So he can go back. He can go back to the City ground and celebrate and start putting fireworks up and all that.
Very kind of you, lads. Enjoy the show. I'm going to sit in the loo and say nothing. I've got to stick around. If you've got two Leicesters on, I've got to stick around a little bit.
Yeah, man. No, it's calm. It's calm.
Gonna
start with Liam,
which is not right.
Gonna start with Liam because I know he ain't got long. Liam, I know like it's doom and gloom for you, and you're like, your head's in the Championship already. You said last week, mate. But a little bit of news about Russell Martin potentially coming in. I think that's a good move, man. What's your thoughts, bruv?
Yeah, man, I'm proper happy with it. I can't lie. Called it a few months ago. With the Swansea lads, I think he's such a positive appointment. I know they're saying that the Jason Wilcox from Man City who's joining us now as one of the directors of the football has had a massive implement in it. So I'm proper happy. I know a lot of Swansea fans. They said he took a bit of time to get used to where they're playing, but I think it'd probably be different with us. We've already kind of got the players that he needs, and I mean playing that bit of style that we want. Swansea had great stats, one of the highest possession stats within the 92. I think only Burnley and City had more, which is something that I like to hear because we've had too many years where we've just been playing on the back foot, and we need a front foot playing team if we're going to be getting out of the Championship. But I still don't expect much from next year. I'm just happy that we've got it done for the end of the season. Not so he comes into pre-season kind of knowing what he wants, what the players what he wants and stuff like that, so they can start work now rather than starting in 2 months' time. So I'm happy with it.
Yeah, man, I would be as well. Your audio is a bit crackly, mate, but we did get most of it. But nah, it's cool, man. I do feel like that would be a good appointment because, like you say, with Swansea and what they got, losing their players, still doing well with them, I actually think it's a good appointment. And I wanted to ask some of the other lads like Ash and Dave and Sam, etc. Like, if you were flirting with relegation, some of you obviously still are, some of you are now safe. And like there was a lot of rumours that there'd be Leicester who lost their manager. Dave, you stuck with Cooper, but there was rumours he might have gone. Sam, you stuck with Gary O'Neill, but some of the fans still want him gone, and some of the fans are happy, etc. Russell Martin, is that a good appointment for Southampton? Do you think, lads?
Style of play wise, yes.
Yeah.
They what you get with Swansea is a hell of a lot of possession. The only thing is, do they use it? Because I'm coming off a game where we've just played a title contender and beaten them with only 18% possession. So, it's a strange world that we live in. But I like Russell Martin. I think he's a good guy. The football that MK Dons played was progressive. I would have had Swansea, if Russell Martin was staying there, I would have had them as a real contender in the Championship next year because they come with a burst towards the end. So I personally think it's a good appointment, that.
Yeah, fair play, man. Fair play. Sam?
Yeah, I think when we've played him before, obviously we played him once when he was Swansea manager, also MK Dons. We had a Carabao Cup game last season. It was like the first game of the season, and we beat him 5-0. But their style was admirable. I would say that. I think he's a little bit naive at times, front foot, high press. But once you got past that high press defensively, they looked a little bit shaky, but with the right tools and hopefully with the, I'm saying hopefully for Saints, but I think he'll do all right. Yeah, no, I do think he'll do well for him. But how dissimilar is he to Nathan Jones? I don't know. But I think
Not similar at all.
Well, let's hope not for you, But yeah, I think he's certainly proven himself in the Championship, and I think he'll probably prove to be quite an astute acquisition. Especially with that parachute money as well, he'll be able to buy the players that he needs. And I think they'll be pushing next season. But I tell you what, I wouldn't want to be in the Championship next season because that looks a competitive division.
Well, it always is, man. Anyone can go up, anyone can go
true.
down. It's horrible, isn't it? And luckily I ain't been down there, but from what I hear, it ain't easy. It is not easy at all. Liam, I want to stick with you just quickly, mate. James Ward-Prowse, Kyle Walker-Peters, Lavia, got some players there that are going to be touted at leaving. Can you keep hold of any of these players, or have you just got to accept they're leaving and try to start a build?
I think you got to accept them leaving now, but I think the main point is that we get them out straight away. I don't want the window to keep on going on, and we lose them in the last few days. They're going to go, let them go now. So Russell Martin gets the players by pre-season. If they're not gone by pre-season, then you either go, you're not going to train with us if you want to go, or if you want to stay, you keep going and train with us, because he's got a massive job in his hands. And I don't think it's just the players, it's the whole club. We pretty much lost all our board. We lost a lot. We're going to lose a lot of players as well. But all these players got to think we've got, you either stay or you go. And at the end of the day, I'm going to back Russell Martin until the end of the earth, because I absolutely love his football. I loved watching Swansea a lot last season. I think he was very unfortunate with a lot of results, because they only ended up 3 points off the playoffs when they've had no backing. They lost two of their best players in Flynn Downs and Obafemi, who went to Burnley. So he's been pretty unlucky. So I'll just see how it is. I'm kind of on the beach now as well. Yeah, I mean, I just want the season to be done. I can't wait for the championship next year. New grounds, proper football, no VAR. Thank Christ for that. Maybe some shitter referees, but I'll take it any day with the Premier League at the moment. It's actually getting boring. But I'm probably saying that because I'm down. So I'm happy about it, and I can't wait for next year.
Fair play, man. Chances of going straight back up, Liam, do you think they're pretty high, mate?
To be fair, mate, I'm just hoping we don't get back-to-back relegations. That's the only thing I'm worried about. You know what I mean? I don't want to do a Sunderland and stuff like that. So I'd take top 6 next year if you said it to me right now, 100%. If we get in those playoffs, I'll be happy.
Fair play, man. You're very honest as always, and you're talking a lot of sense. And fair play to you, man, because it must be horrible being down. Ash and Locks are feeling down, I imagine, but they've got something to cling on to at least. And Southampton, I bet, wish they still do. So fair play, man.
I mean, I feel better than probably Ash and Locks, because I think financially next year would be fine. Yeah, we've got the old payments, and our owners already come out saying, even if, I think it was a few months ago, they come out and said if we go down, we'll be fine. So I'm more worried about Leicester and probably Leeds and Everton, because I think they'll generally be fucked for next year, really, with financially and stuff like that. So yeah, I think I'm in a better situation than probably Leicester, Leeds, and Everton fans right now.
Fair play to you, man. Look at that. He's down and he's still taking jibes. You'd rather be me. Love that, Liam. Love that, Liam. Talking of financial problems, little Dan, I mean, you look like you're waiting for a job interview, bro. What's going on with Wolves' finances and Lopetegui apparently leaving and all this? What is this I'm hearing? Is this nonsense or what's going on, man? Oh, you're on mute, bro. You're on mute.
Nothing to worry about, guys. Just paper talk. We've got billions in the bank, but we're going to recruit smartly this summer. We're not looking at marquee signings. We're looking at good, shrewd investments.
Who are you going for then?
Say again?
Who are you going for then, recruitment-wise?
Well, we're being constantly linked to Gyökeres from Coventry at the moment. They got their playoff final coming up. We've been linked to Gyökeres since the January transfer window. Rumoured fee of around 25 million. But I think if Coventry get promoted, he stays there. I don't think Coventry can sort of resist a lower bid than £25 million if it came in. I think you might be able to sort of pry probably away for a bit cheaper than that. We need a striker. Obviously, Jimenez is going this summer. Diego Costa's expected to leave this summer. You've seen the last 2 seasons under Wolves. We scored 38 league goals last season. I think we're on something like 27 or 28 this season. Goal scoring needs to be massively improved. So hopefully we can recruit well in the summer. There are sort of rumblings about sort of restraints with FFP, and if you read some of the things that Guillem Balaguer is coming out today, it appears he's touting Lopetegui out to different clubs. But from my sources, I'm told we're fine. We've got roughly calculated around £80 million to spend summer before sales come in. So in regards to sort of FFP and money troubles, I don't think that's sort of as true as you'd owned by an investment group. So at the end of the day, they're not going to spend stupid money again like they did last summer under Bruno Lage.
Yeah, man. Lopetegui, I think he's done a good job, man. I guess the Wolves fan want to keep him.
I personally do, but you sort of look at the Guillem Balaguer stuff that comes out today, and part of it for me feels as if like maybe he's asked Guillem Balaguer to maybe tout him out a little bit. So, and then you look back at his sort of tenure at Spain, where he was sort of, he'd agreed to join Real Madrid before the World Cup had started. He's got no loyalty. It's shown in the past. So, but obviously he's got 2 years left on his contract. It's a bit of an odd one at the moment. We don't really know how much sort of smoke and fire actually is true.
Yeah, interesting one for me. And I understand, like, the Wolves need a centre forward, man. Like, you cannot go another season scoring like 35 goals in a season. Like, it's got to stop. And for me, like, Wolves actually, when it was under Nuno, it was looking like a real balance between both. Like, you could defensively solid with your three at the back and your wing backs, but you were scoring goals, and Jimenez was causing problems. Back then, Adama Traore come on the scene and was actually like half scoring goals, which is just something you just don't do now. I mean, keeping hold of your players could be a problem now. I mean, like, are you going to be able to keep hold of Ruben Neves forever? Do you know what I mean? Like, is he going to be going?
No, I think it was supposed to have gone last summer, but obviously Barcelona's bottomless pit of money wasn't as deep as they thought it was, because they're a shambles of a club on the Barcelona. I'd hope that we could keep Ruben Neves, but I don't want him to obviously join another English side. That would be sort of heart-wrenching. I'm sure we've all got sort of, club heroes that we've followed all of our life. Certain players that you just don't want to see play for another English side, and Ruben Neves is, for me, one of those. But if we're going to do business with Barcelona, which appears to be sort of the front runners for him at the moment, you've got to be asking for sort of money up front, not these sort of player exchange, no sort of cash change in hands, because he is that sort of level of player that we should be sort of recouping big money for. But he's got 1 year left on his contract. He should have went last summer, like I said. So it'll be heartbreaking when I travel to the Emirates Sunday, and it's probably his last game for Wolves. But like we've talked about Ruben Neves before, he's a calibre of player that shouldn't be playing outside of at least the Europa League for me.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And there was a couple of seasons ago we were linked with him, and then he came out and slagged us off on socials, and everyone realised he weren't going to come. But yeah, top player, man. I always rated him. I think he's top quality. And, I was looking at sort of the Tielemans and the Ruben Neveses and all that, and thinking they could be available in the summer for some teams. So yeah, I'm with you. How good has Max Kilman been this year, by the way, Dan?
He is top half Premier League centre back, and with that English premium, we'll make good money on him soon. I believe it's similar to like sort of Ben White when you guys took him from Brighton. I think a big side will come in for him soon if we don't sort of start progressing back to sort of at least the top half, because he has got that sort of ability. I've been massively slanderous to him in the past, because I feel like players from like the academies get too much sort of leniency at times. He has got he is prone to the odd error, but for the ball playing centre halves that most sort of top halves look for now, he is that sort of player that teams around sort of 7th to 8th pushing for Europa League should be looking at. If they need a left-footed ball playing centre half, he has got the capability to play at a much higher level than he is now.
Fair play, man. I actually agree. I think he's a really underrated, underspoken about centre half.
Why has he not been picked for England?
Because of Gareth Southgate.
He's a clown of a manager.
We're
I'll
seeing
say
today,
that.
like, he's leaving. He's fallen out. He's got his favourites. He's fallen out of individuals. Conor Gallagher's back in there. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, what is all this? Doesn't
Calvin
hardly play
Phillips
for
as
Chelsea.
well.
Calvin
Yeah.
Phillips. I mean, crikey, I've played about
He's
as much football as
crap.
him. Like, what is going on? Like, honestly,
The,
this
the
manager.
problem with Max Tillman is when I think Southgate actually came to watch him play last season, actually in the stadium, specifically to try and watch Max Tillman, and he had an absolute nightmare at home to, I think it was Crystal Palace, and I think that sort of strained his chances of playing for England. But like you said, I mean, Conor Cody's up until recently been in the England squad who hasn't warranted a place. Billy will tell me otherwise, but Tyrone Mings being in the England squad is still a joke for me.
Up until recently, I'd agree, but this season he's been phenomenal. He's up there with Douglas Luiz for Player of the Season, 100%.
I think Levi
an
Colwell should have
absolute rock.
been picked, really. I think he's fantastic.
I think there's so many that can feel hard done by for not getting picked, to be fair. Colwell being one of them. He's been fantastic.
What about
for Brighton.
Tomori, though? Because, like, what I understand is people go, Serie A, but has anyone seen actually Gareth Southgate go over to Milan and watch him?
Nope.
No.
Tamori
So
should be in there, mate.
what's the
Tamori's
point?
quality.
What's the even point? Harry Maguire, again, getting picked when he's played, like, 15 games this season. He's an absolute donkey. Oh, Christ. I don't think he could play for Leicester anymore. And they've got Wout Fares at the back. I wouldn't even sign him for Southampton. I think he's that bad.
Liam, you're taking it too far now, because whilst you've got Bednarak at the back, you marry Harry Maguire over Bednarik.
He's the Polish Maldini, man. I don't know what you're on about.
He's a shambles of a footballer. Let me tell you.
Liam's going down fighting. I can see this.
Liam, that young Bednarik own goal against Wolves is not Maldini-esque.
Yeah, man, he's terrible. I can't even lie. But yeah, Mings apparently. Got asked today about James AFC said ask Billy about Tyrone Mings getting back in the England sky. Is it deserved? He thinks it is. Obviously, you do, Bill. To be fair to you, Billy, you've always said actually the whole of this season that he's been good, and you did say last season that he was a shambles, and he was. But Gareth Southgate, yet again, he's always liked Tyrone Mings. He has always liked Tyrone Mings. He's never come out. He's only not picked him when he's literally had no choice not to. But I think Kilman, he's been overlooked, man. And like he obviously doesn't like Ben White. He's fallen out with Ben White. We get this. Oh, Ben White, we've got too many right backs. Well, Ben White can play centre back as well. Do you know what I'm saying? So like he's better than Conor Cody.
He's just been playing right back.
He's been playing right back, exactly.
Because of Tomiyasu.
He's fallen out. Like Ben White left in Qatar because he saw these clowns like Dyer and Cody and Maguire playing and said, if you're not going to play me ahead of them, I might as well go back home. And he's gone back home. That's what's happened. And I tell you, Ben White's been the best right back in the league this season. Like what? It's just this manager. We need to just get him gone, man. Gareth Southgate. I can't deal with him, man. I know he's like got us to finals, semi-finals. I would argue better managers that have won the last 3 competitions of England.
Exactly. He's also lost us those finals.
At least he didn't pick. At least he didn't pick Dyer. For Christ's sakes, he's awful as well.
He is dreadful, Eric.
Diabolical.
He's well named.
Yeah, that is very true, man. He is well named, man. He is well named. Let's do it, man. Let's talk Leicester. I know you don't want to Locks and Ash, but we got to. Give me some positivity, Locks, as to why this last day could go Leicester City's way. What a question.
I mean, Calvert-Lewin's injured, isn't he? So that could go in our favour, I suppose. I mean, Bournemouth. What is it? The last 4 games that you've lost, I think, is it? So it's not.
Yeah,
it's not. Yeah, it's not looking great. At the end of the day, we just got to do our job. Like that's all we can do. And I'm not 100% sure we're going to do that, to be honest with you. So I'm not going to rely. I'm not going to think too much about the Bournemouth Everton game. I think. If this has been the most annoying thing about all season is that if all of the players turn up on their day, they'll turn anyone over. They're turning Arsenal over. They're turning Man City over. We've seen it before. We've seen it so many times, and it's just they've just not turned up all year. And whether we can put that on Rodgers and whatever, that's in the past now. Even since Rodgers has been gone, it's just been shocking. And I think. That Newcastle, the point of Newcastle the other night was the first positive, I suppose, that we've had to take in a long time. I think that's the first clean sheet since before the World Cup. We're
Is indeed, yeah.
the only team in the top 5 European leagues to not have a clean sheet, something like that. So, yeah, it's. I'm not, I'd probably say I'm 50-50 whether we'll win. I mean, we only need a draw as long as Everton lose. So, sorry, we only need Everton can't draw, right? Is that it, Ash?
So if
we
Everton
win,
if Everton draw and we win, we'll stay up.
Yeah. So
that could happen. Like that could happen. Sam, are you confident you can take something from Everton, bro?
I think so. I think a lot of I was listening to Talk Sport on Monday when I was driving back from Manchester, and it sounded like Newcastle were just all over Leicester.
Yeah.
But then obviously they had the chance at the end, which was saved by Nick Pope, and there were a lot of people. Sam Matface was commentating. We all love him, and he was saying why aren't Leicester going toe to toe? But if you go toe to toe with Newcastle, they will absolutely wipe the floor with you.
Yep.
So. I think Dean Smith was probably quite astute, and in securing a point, it does mean that like Everton have to win. Whereas if they draw, then it gives Leicester more of a chance. We've played Everton twice this season, albeit under Frank Lampard. Once in the Carabao Cup, once in the league. We got a 7-1 aggregate win over them. The last game against Man United, thought we were pretty poor, and it was only a 1-0 loss. But we had like David Brooks in from the start, which was a very sentimental thing to do, but probably not the right thing to do. He's nowhere near it. Lewis Cook was in, looked all right. One of our wingers, like Jaden Anthony, hadn't had minutes in quite a while. But for this game, I think we're going to bring some of the big hitters back, including Philip Billing, hopefully. And there's a few players that sort of make me think, and we play better against the teams that have to come out and win. Like Everton, they don't have to win, but I think they'll want to win. So I think we've actually got a fairly decent chance. And the last time we played Everton on the final day, we beat them, albeit we got relegated. Let's not talk about that. But I don't know. I don't think Leicester fans should necessarily be all downhearted. I think that their biggest problem is, are they going to win themselves?
Yeah.
And they can't be looking at like what's happening elsewhere. They need to concentrate on their own game first. If they're thinking elsewhere, then they probably won't get the job done. They really need to.
Yeah, man, it's going to be interesting. Before I bring Ash in, Liam and Dan, I know you've got a shoot, man. Before you do go, give us a prediction for last games of your season for Southampton and Wolves. Liam, start with you, bro.
Bloody hell. Playing Liverpool, aren't we? We haven't won in like 12 games, so I'm going to go 2-0 Southampton. Come on.
Hey, optimistic, man. Love it. Looking forward to this one. Lil Dan, you come to the Emirates, mate. I'm going to try and meet up with you, bruv, if I can. What are you going for, man? What are you going for?
3-0 Arsenal.
Really? You think it'll be?
Yeah, we're just coming to take the piss out of you, look, Bolly in the league. You nearly won the league. You nearly won the league. 95 minutes minimum of that on Sunday, Dan.
I look forward to that, Dan. I look forward to that, bro. I will. But we'll try and meet up, bro, before or after, and we'll catch up, I'm sure. Liam, Dan, legends as always. I will see you next time.
Thanks for having me on as always. I'm really gutted D and Joe aren't here tonight because obviously Joe's getting relegated, so I wanted to wind him up a bit, and obviously Dean's just always there to wind up in it.
Yeah.
He's still crying because he lost in Europe last night to under 21's PSV side.
and locked. Obviously, Joe Liam's already got relegated. I know things seem really bad at the moment, but just take into account that you didn't spend your Tuesday night getting shushed by kids. Good night, guys.
Take care, Dan. Layers, boys.
He's a legend, isn't he? Should have his own show, that lad.
Oh, mate, I tell you, 100, man, 100. Ash, like, I've got to be real. My brother-in-law texted me, right, and he said, this Dean Smith's taking Leicester down. Have you seen the team? No Maddison, no Barnes. I said, yeah, he's just going to go defensive, and he's just going to go and try and get a point. I must say, mate, at least you showed some fight and you nearly won it at the end. Ash, that must
Yeah.
fill you with a little bit of confidence, bro.
Yeah, I thought I just want to give a shout out to Suter. I thought he was excellent the other night. I thought he had an absolute blinder, and we've just got to
Was
look
he playing
forward.
DM, Ash? Was he playing like DM? Like,
It seemed he was carrying the ball forward. He was technically a centre back, but he was carrying the ball forward quite well and knocking it forward to nobody. But that's just how we set up that night. It was evident he went there. Like Dean Smith said, you can go there and try and go toe to toe with a team like that. Look what happened to Spurs when they tried it. We couldn't afford to be getting slapped up like that at St James's Park.
The draw suited both teams as well, to be fair.
Yeah.
We couldn't even go toe to toe with Fulham. We lost.
Exactly.
We went 4-0 down, didn't we? So
that's right. Yeah. So when we've tried to go toe to toe with teams because of the frailties at the back, we've suffered this season. So yeah, I just think obviously it's all to play for. It's going to be one of them either really sickening feelings on Sunday where you just have to dust yourself down, and what we're kind of expecting, Locks, happens, which is us going down maybe. But anything better than that, I still worry because I still think there's a huge rebuild to be done, and maybe the Championship is a better place for us to do that than in the Premier League, because we're losing a lot of our players whether we stay up or not.
Do you think that as well, Locks? Like, do you think it's going to be like Exodus, like mass clear out, whatever? Like, if you go down.
I've seen that apparently if we stay up, we're not selling Barnes and Maddison. So I'd imagine it's Maddison going, I think. So Barnes might stay for another year at least. But I agree with what Ash said. I think it's probably Championship is probably the easier league to do a rebuild in terms of the caliber of players that you're trying to bring in as well. Like, with the market these days, we might get Maddison's got 1 year left. So we might get 35, 40 million for Maddison. Whereas, you're going to have to replace him, and you're not going to get anyone better than Maddison for that price. So it's going to be difficult if we did stay up. I think obviously Tielemans leaving on a free, that situation has been handled terribly. I don't think the club had any hope of keeping him, so I don't know why we didn't try and sell him last year, unless just nobody wanted him last season. I don't know, but yeah, it's going to be tough no matter what division we're in. We're going to lose some players. Soyuncu's leaving on a free to Atletico Madrid, and a couple other players which I'm sure me and Ash will be happy to see the back of as well. But it's going to be, I won't name them all, but it's going to be tough, mate. Like Ash said, Sunday is going to be, you're going to have that sinking feeling, obviously, if we go down. But if we stay up, I don't know how long we can be positive for, because it could be the exact same thing next season if we don't do something really smart in the summer. And it'd be interesting to see what happens with Dean Smith as well. For some reason, I can't see him staying. Whether we stay up or not, I think he'll be out the door. So,
what's his contract situation? Is it just till the end of this season, or what?
Yeah, I think he's just. I think if he keeps us up, he gets a big payout. But from what I've read, but yeah, there's nothing's been mentioned about a contract past this season. So I think Potter's probably the goal if we stay up. I can't see how we detract him in the Championship. So I think Graham Potter might be the aim if we stay up. But apart from that, I have no idea what the plan is.
Wow, it's mad, isn't it? Ash, I see a report today in the Mirror that Arsenal are back in for Maddison. You know my thoughts on this player. I absolutely love the kid, and I've done for about 3 or 4 years now. I don't see, if he does come into Arsenal, that he gets into the first 11 guaranteed, because I think our first 11 is very good. I think Erdegaard takes that slot for now, and if we do get somebody in to replace Xhaka like Declan Rice being touted, or Caicedo, one of those guys, then Maddison will be a squad player. Do you see that as a good move for Maddison, or do you think it would be better for him to go to maybe Spurs, Newcastle, even like maybe Man United and play first team football?
If I'm being honest, I'd like to see Maddison play first team football, as much as I have still got quabbles about his attitude since the World Cup towards Leicester City. Like, he's a wasted talent, and he's excellent on the ball, and if he's got a good back line behind him and somebody doing the work behind him, he's got that bit of magic. So it'd be nice to see him in a team that can provide for him. But it would be a waste to see him without sounding bad, sat on the bench for Arsenal. That would gut me. I'd prefer to
The
see
thing
him
is,
go
though,
to
Ash, like we're playing 4 competitions now. We're going to be in Champions League. We're going to be playing Premier League. We're going to need a squad. So Martin Odegaard, trust me, we've got no cover. Absolutely nothing. Like Fabio Vieira, he isn't good enough. Smith Rowe has been injured the whole time, and there's rumours he might even leave. So we're going to need somebody like him to come in. Now, it might, what I think in every single position, it should be a Maddison and Odegaard, a Tierney and Zinchenko. You know, these guys pushing. We've literally got a first 11 and nothing coming in. We've got like 2 or 3 players. So as much as I think that James Maddison would sit on the bench at Arsenal, he wouldn't be sat there all season. He wouldn't be washed up. He wouldn't be like, wow, this guy can't get a kick. He'd be playing a lot of games. So I don't think it'd be a shocking move, but I do get what you're saying. And I think that if Newcastle were to come in and say, right, you're going to play every single game for us, mate, that might be more of a tempting move for him.
Absolutely, because without sounding rude, Dan, they're offering the same as what Arsenal can now, which is Champions League football next year, you know.
Yeah.
And it'll probably get a lot more of it at Newcastle. And that's all I was, sort of saying. Like, I know we'd get a lot of football. He would get a lot of football at Arsenal, and form dependent. We've all seen players that come in and come out for spells of games, and I think that would happen between Maddison and Odegaard. Definitely, there'd be the competition there. But yeah, I'd just like to see him go to a club where he gets a lot of football and he's got a bit of support behind him. And I just hope he takes the attitude that he's had over the last couple of years instead of the last 6 months with him.
Yeah, I must admit that has, I think, put people off. I think. Like, what's your thoughts on that, Locks? Do you think Tielemans and Maddison's heads have gone a bit in the last few?
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, but during COVID, Ash, do you remember? Like, there was a lot of talk as well. He was in and out of form, and he had a few injuries, and it was tough for him.
It was.
And there were people were talking then about his attitude as well. I remember in one of the biggest games of our season when I think it was West Ham, when I think we needed like a couple more wins to qualify for top 4. He came out. Some people will agree with this, some people won't. But he came out and released his Boohoo Man range. And
I remember that.
And then we went and did we lose 3-0 or 3-1 or something like that? And a few Leicester fans lost their heads on
Dave's
that.
confused.
Yeah, I got a clue what that is.
So, yeah, I mean, look,
I'm a different generation, I think.
He was mate. Honestly, in 2022, like throughout the whole year, he was sensational. But like Ash mentioned, like he just seemed to drop off after the World Cup, after he got that call up, and
he did.
Then I don't know if he's maybe then looking, right, I've had me call up, what's next? Maybe in the summer, you know, I'm off to a bigger club, and that's how it feels. And you know, we might be completely wrong. We might be being too harsh, but it just feels like something switched. And I don't know if obviously Ash will be aware of this. I don't know if the other guys will, but he's had a few run-ins on Twitter as well. He's had a local reporter, Rob Tanner, who rightly so questioned Leicester players and saying that we're doomed for relegation. And this was in early March, end of February, early March. And Maddison replied to it saying, no, play like we are and we'll be absolutely fine. And still, he's not deleted the tweet either. It's still up there, shockingly. And so, yeah, it's been a tough few months for him, and, as it has for all the Leicester fans as well. And the relationship isn't what it was. I think he'll choose Newcastle over Arsenal, to be honest with you. I know you're saying he'll still play a lot of minutes for Arsenal, but I just think he'll look at that Newcastle side and think, I can be the star in that team, playing Champions League football. And he loves himself, James Maddison, he does. And I just think, I think he'd choose Newcastle, to be honest with you. If they come in for him, I think that'll be his preferred choice. And he probably will be a star. He probably will be a star in that team.
I can't say I disagree, if I'm honest with you. Last before I move to the boys, Ash, listen, you got West Ham. Surely this is a good time to play them. All they've got to do is win one more game this season in the final. They're not going to care about this game. Surely they can't really do anything in the league. Even if they went up one place, they'd still have a shocking season in the league. You can't spend nearly 200 million and come 13th or 14th. It's just embarrassing. But they don't care. They want Fiorentina. They don't want to beat Leicester. They want to beat Fiorentina. So
they do. Do
you see this as a good opportunity? Is this a good game for you at the King Power against them? I think it is, man. I can't lie.
Yeah, I think the fixture sort of favours us because, like you say, Moyes is going to be a little bit cautious, isn't he? And he's not going to want to throw everything at Leicester City when there's nothing to fight for, when they've got... I know we have a joke about the competition, but it's a European final at the end of the day, and one that we failed to win last season, even though I do feel the calibre of teams was a lot better last season than it is this year. But yeah, I don't think that West Ham would want to come and give absolutely everything. I don't think they're going to come and lie down, because I don't think Moyes would accept that as a manager. But I do agree. I do think if things are maybe going south for them and we're 1 or 2 up, he might just start withdrawing players, and you might see the sort of game's done attitude come in then. But from the off, I think they'll still be competitive. But again, I can only hope that Bournemouth are the same at Goodison Park, and go there and just try and give it a real good go. Anything could happen. Leeds could even stay up. I know I know it's a minimal chance, but they could do it. If we
what do Leeds need? Do they need Everton and Leicester to lose, and they got to win? Is that what it is?
I think Leicester draw as well.
If Leicester draw and Everton lose,
then they could there's only 2 possibilities, and Everton have to lose, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go on, Sam. No pressure, Sam. No pressure.
It's fine.
Everton have to lose both in both situations, and Leicester obviously lose in one of the situations and draw in the other, and Leeds win. Because if it comes to goal difference with us, I think and Leeds, and we were on the same points at the end of the day, we've got a massive goal difference over them. So
yeah, man. Listen, good game for you, Locks. West Ham.
Yeah, I get both sides. I've seen some people say that West Ham will be on the beach looking forward to that final, but it's still quite a long time away, isn't it? It's not like the resting. There's no resting involved, because there's still quite a long time. It's 10. Someone put in the comments there 10 days, and I just think maybe some of the players going to be trying to fight for their to be in the starting 11. You then also got the other side of it. Maybe they don't want to get injured. No injuries. They might kind of pull out of challenges or something like that. But I think they're definitely not going to roll over. Like Ash said, I think if we're maybe 2-0 up or 2-1 up, they might take the foot off the gas. But I think to start with, they'll give us a game. And yeah, there's no guarantees. Like you said, Leeds, Everton, Leicester, all within a chance. Obviously, Everton within have the best chance, of course. But Leeds could do it. So yeah, it's just going to be hard to watch. It's going to be the worst 90 minutes, in a long time. And yeah, nothing more to say about that really. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, it is, man. It really is. I can't lie to you. Let's come to someone who's not been flirting with relegation this season. Billy, I got to say to you, mate, like, what's going to happen down the bottom here? Like, what for you? What's going to happen at the final day? Because Sam's got something he can get involved. Dave just don't care now because he's chilled out with Forest. But both of these Leicester boys are going to have a hell of a Sunday. I can't lie, man. How do you see it panning out, Bill?
Yeah, I mean, we've not been flirting with relegation this season, but in past seasons we have been. Dean Smith against West Ham, Bournemouth against Everton. We've been there, we've done that, albeit we're in a slightly better position, probably Everton's position. However, just keep the faith. I've said it. Dino will keep Leicester up.
My hands, love it.
Yeah. Yeah. You did say that, actually.
I did say that, but I've got to be honest. Over the past few weeks, well, before the Newcastle game, I did think that they were gone. In fairness, but there's still that slight opportunity, and I've been there before when you think you're down and out, but somehow you manage to stay up. You've just got to keep the faith, I suppose, is what I'd tell you boys to do. But yeah, from the sounds of things, it's not all doom and gloom if you do go down. Anyway, it's a little bit we can rebuild, and this is probably the best scenario for us to rebuild in, because, like you say, Ash, it is probably a bit of an easier league to form that rebuild in,
Yeah.
because the Premier League, the caliber of players you've got to be bringing in, you could quite easily be sat here in Liam's position next season with Southampton, just completely down and out with nothing really to play for. You mentioned Maddison and Tielemans and maybe Barnes, who knows if he goes, if he was to stay up as well. So it's one of them. Last day of the season for me is going to be stressful for my personal reasons. However, I'm looking forward to see what happens down the other end, not being involved in it as well. With all due respect.
Yeah, man. Listen, I know it's going to be a busy one for you, and we'll come back to that in a minute. I'm going to be honest with you. I thought Everton were going to go down from day dot. I tipped them to go down. I said Everton will go down this season. Everyone laughed. No chance. So they've got Lampard, who's sending them one way. That's down. And then they will not recover. Now, when they got Sean Dyche, I thought, maybe they'll be all right now. They ain't been great under Dyche. You don't look at them now and go, yeah, there's no chance they're going down. They're class. Like, they struggle to score goals. They don't really play attractive football. They've got maybe glimpses of quality, and they've got individual bits of quality. I wouldn't rule out Everton drawing this game and Leicester beating West Ham. I really wouldn't. I really don't see that being as I don't see that prediction being crazy. Like, Sam's mentioned that Bournemouth are going to bring some players back in. They're due a win. I mean, Bournemouth, since they've been safe, have just gone, let's just go have fun. But they must be due a win in terms of probability soon. Leicester need to beat West Ham. You cannot draw this game or lose this game. It's just like a no-go. But Everton could draw this game, like, for me. And I know, Sam, you said that you're bringing some players in, and you've got the players like Philip Billing in. I mean, he's probably your best player. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. One of them anyway. And, DCL being out. I mean, like, be real, Sam. You're going there. Do you go there thinking they're a good side? I know Goodison Park's tough. I get it. But surely you'll go there thinking we could take something here quite easily. They're not an unbelievable side, are they, Everton?
No, they're not. They were probably one of the poorest sides we've faced this season. I think obviously they are a different proposition under Dyche. I think they're a bit more disciplined. And when he came in, I was the same as you, as a relegation rival at the time. I think we were playing Brighton at the time. We were getting the train into Falmer, and I think they were playing you, weren't they, Dan? There was and they beat you 1-0. Was it?
Manager bounce, mate. They beat us 1-0.
Exactly. And at that point, I'm thinking, oh, here we go. Like, he's going to rescue him, but he hasn't had the effect that I thought he might. And I think they are naive in some ways. I think if they try to come out at us, as I said earlier, that's our best chance to get a result, and they have to do that. We got a number of players that are back. I think Gary O'Neill for a bit of momentum, because sometimes momentum does carry into the next season, and losing 3 in a row as we are at the moment, if we lose 4 in a row, our names once again are going to be on the lips of pundits at the start of next season, thinking they're going to go down. So our season, once again, next season will be defined as, okay, we prove the pundits wrong again. And I don't want that to be the gauge of success for Bournemouth. I want us to be good in our own right, rather than just finishing 17th and that being good because everyone else would come like 18th or lower. I think for Gary O'Neill, he'll want to get a result. And like you say, on the balance of probability, we'll probably get something. And when we face Everton, we seem to always turn up against them, whether it's on their own patch or at Dean Court. So if I was a Leeds or Leicester fan, I wouldn't completely lose faith yet. And but I think it's important that we score first, though. I think if they score first, that's always the danger. If we score first, I think we could win 2-3-0. So I think it's going to be a tasty game, and it's quite nice to be at the centre of attention for once for everyone, because we're always last on match of the day. No one cares about Bournemouth, but like this weekend, everyone will be. It's brilliant.
Yeah, man, it gives you a little bit more relevance now than the last few weeks since you've been safe. I mean, Everton, right? A madness result against Brighton. What the hell happened there? Anyone see that? And then the bloody last game, 99th minute equaliser. That is literally putting Leeds and Leicester right in the doo-doo. And sometimes it happens for a reason, but sometimes football in the last day can cause some absolute scenes. And I just don't know about Everton being safe. I don't know. I think they're the ones that people are now looking at going, they'll be all right. It's going to be what Leeds and Leicester do for me. I don't know that Everton will be all right. I mean, I know Bournemouth aren't in great form, but I do think they could slip up there. So keep the faith, boys, because you just got to go and beat West Ham, and then pray that Bournemouth and Sam will be there because it is in his hands. Someone's just said so.
Yeah, I'll be there. I'll be making
Sam
sure
will
of it.
be
Don't
there
you worry.
Sam will be there making sure that Everton don't win. I've got a bit. Sam, before I go to Dave and Billy, I've got to ask you about Gary O'Neill. Candidate for manager of the season, rightly so. I know you laughed at me when I said that last time. 6 weeks ago, you and Forrest were like, what, odds on to go down? So I look at it now and think, wow, what an unbelievable job he has done. I've got to be honest with you, Sam, I did not see it lasting. When he went there, when he was there appointed, I thought they could go down, Bournemouth. I'm not sure. I think he's done a great job, man. I really do. What's going to be happening with his future, and what would you like to see happening?
I think for manager of the season, talk of that for me is probably not. I don't subscribe to that theory. I think when he came in, it's when he's got comfortable. Like he was caretaker boss, obviously after Scott Parker, and at that point he didn't realise whether he was going to have the job or not. And at that point he didn't feel safe in it. But he put in this incredible form where we were like one of the longest unbeaten sides in the Premier League for quite a while, and we picked up some really good results there. And then the World Cup happened, flirting with Bielsa, went with the caretaker manager, and then it was almost like he was like feeling safe again. And he had a terrible January. It was a really, really bad January. The only real month he's had good is April, really. He picked up a couple of pretty good wins in, like, for instance, Wolves away, which was where he kind of ground it out in February. But I don't know, there are some naiveties that we see from him at times. Sometimes it's felt like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. But we are slowly getting better. He has got a contract extension as a result of keeping us in the Premier League, so we will have him for a couple more seasons. There are some little glimpses of good things that we see, but jury's still out. But obviously we're just delighted. We're delighted for him because he took some stick at times. There was a terrible Twitter campaign where people were like posting clown photos with O'Neill out. They were morphing his face like Osama bin Laden and stuff. It was terrible stuff, and it wouldn't have been nice for him. So I'm glad he's managed to prove the fans wrong. Whilst he's not particularly my cup of tea, I completely respect what he's done, and he deserves it. He really does deserve another chance. And I would like to grow to like him. So hopefully that can happen. And look, he's going to have time now to mould his squad over the summer with the help of more transfers. Hopefully it showed what the board did in January by bringing in players that were fairly astute signings that have all hit the ground running pretty much. Hopefully we can do the same over the summer and attack the Premier League with a bit more gusto next season. But no, he completely deserves a chance for sure.
Yeah, man, I can't lie. I think he has been really good, and you've got to see what he can do next season. Like you say, in January, I was surprised he spent that money. You've obviously got a bit of money to spend in the summer to try to bolster that squad and give it another go, mate. Because I'm not going to be naive enough to think that Bournemouth are now going to go right. The next thing is to get into that top half. You've got to try and make sure that you're safe again first. We know how it works. So, 100%, man. But fair play to you. You've had a good season and one that you would have taken and bit my hand off if I offered you that at the start.
Big time,
so,
big time.
100, man, 100. Going to come to Dave last for obvious reasons. Billy, your last day is going to be a bit mad. I mean, you couldn't pick a better side to pick a last game of the season. That is going to be the one that I'm going to be like wanting to know what happens. Tottenham, all of the fans want 8th, mate. So, just let them roll over.
Hopefully the players do as well.
Yeah, let Leeds beat them, and then that's hopefully they roll over. But they are shocking, mate. They deserve to come 8th, as far as I'm concerned. They're a disgusting club anyway, but they are actually embarrassing. They actually really are embarrassing now. Like the amount of them that are actually coming for me, laughing at my season, is actually embarrassing. Like it really is embarrassing. They're 8th, and they haven't got a manager, and they're run by a circus clown, and they are actually laughing at Arsenal fans. It's actually quite embarrassing. So there we go.
They were third when Unai Emery came in.
Honestly, like it's a shambles. But we'll forget about them. So Brighton Villa. these are two managers that deserve an unbelievable amount of credit, by the way. What Unai Emery has done, I told you about Gerrard, by the way. Gerrard and Lampard to get sacked this season. Done. That was the simple. That was just obvious for me, that one. But when you took you over and you were 16th or whatever you were, right? And then there was about, I don't know, maybe March time, end of March, I said to you, Bill, like 11th, 12th is like the best you can hope for. You're just chilling now. The only team in the league that can sit and just relax now.
That has nothing to
Unai
play
Emery
for.
wasn't relaxing. Unai Emery was winning games. And now all of a sudden, at one stage, it looked like you could get bloody Champions League, like flirting with it. So this manager I told you this manager was decent. He's done unbelievable with you. And I'd be excited as a Villa fan, man. But you just want European. You just want something, a European away day, yeah?
Absolutely, yeah. I don't care. I know we banter Lawless about it and stuff like that, but I'd love an away day in February in Larnaca or wherever it is. I'd love that. But yeah, you know, the fact that we've got something to play for on the last game of the season, you know, if you'd have told me that when he came in, I'd be expecting us to battle. The fact that we could be playing European football next season is just it's unfathomable, to be honest with you, because I just can't believe the situation we find ourselves in, and I don't think there's a man better suited for it than Unai Emery. You know, I'm obviously incredibly nervous, but I'm more excited at the prospects that we actually have this game to play, that we have the opportunity to be playing this game. And I'm just really relaxed that we've got Unai Emery, because I can just put my full trust in that man and know that he will do the best for Aston Villa. And he's someone that he doesn't stand for mediocrity. So, you know, players aren't playing the way that he wants them to play, then he'll be out. You know, and man, I just can't believe that I'm in this situation, that I'm actually sat here talking about European football. I apologise for getting mixed up in my words and that, but it's it's just a really exciting prospect to be a Villa fan at the minute, because, you know, we've got Europa Conference League, fingers crossed, European football next season. Which better manager to go on and win that, by the way? You know, we've been quoted £200 million to spend in the summer transfer window, and that's without financial fair play regulations and stuff like that. We're actually able to spend 200 million. So, for someone like Unai Emery to have that sort of money as well to bring in the players that he wants, I could only see us going up. And, you know, while I say that, it's a season like this isn't going to come around every season. You know, this is why I'm so desperate that we take the opportunity for European football. It's going to be harder than ever next season to break into that top 7, that top 8. And, you know, the likes of Chelsea, Liverpool, they're not going to be the same team. Spurs, what's going to happen with Spurs? No one really knows. Is Kane going or leaving? They could find themselves in Chelsea's position. But, you know, Brighton anyway, in particular, it's a little bit of an unknown, because they don't have ridiculous amounts of money. What is going on here, by the way? It's not just me, is it, with all these black squares coming up?
It's your Wi-Fi, bro.
I think so, mate. Yeah.
I think your Wi-Fi is getting emotional as well, Billy.
Yeah, I think it is. I've no idea what's happening here. I've just seen a load of black over for that. I'm going to have to shut up in a minute, aren't I?
I think you're back, mate. I think you're back. Can you hear us, Bill?
He's already in Europe.
I'll even come back.
Yeah, come back in, bruv. Come back in. I've obviously upset the Tottenham fan in the chat, King Hoddle, but like come for me. Come on, leave Leicester out of it, right?
Hey,
Leave
come
Leicester
on.
out of it. What's going on here? Is this because Leicester beat you in the title
They don't
race?
like
That's
us.
what it is, because they
Yeah.
came third in the two-horse race.
Oh, Ash has done it. Ash has done it. Ash has gone there. Ash has gone there. Love it. Love it.
We've had 3 trophies in the last 7 years, man. I ain't got to worry about Spurs.
I love that. Man. I love that. Love that. That's class.
I'm just joking.
I know.
No, you're
He
not.
won't,
No,
he
you're
won't
not.
think you are. He won't think you are. He won't think you are. Though. Let's see if we can get Billy back in because he did go. But Bill, can you hear us, mate? Now.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah. We can. I don't know what happened there, mate.
No, Wi-Fi was just playing up. I think it got bored of me talking. But yeah, overall feelings ahead of the weekend is excitement at the opportunity to play for European football. Yeah, whatever happens on the day. I'll be immensely proud of the squad and just excited to see where Unai Emery can take us in the summer and going forwards. Anyway, whether we win, whether we lose, whether we get Europe or not, it's we're in a really good place.
Sorry, Bill, I'm not laughing at you.
That's
We've
all right.
really annoyed a Tottenham fan in the chat. It's really funny. He is absolutely going some. I don't know why he's giving it to Ash and Locks because they've done anything wrong. I was the one who called him a disgrace, but now he's having a go at them, telling them to enjoy Millwall and all this stuff. So.
I had it on the private chat. I didn't see the comments.
It's mad. But there we go. Let's go, Dave. Let's do it. We had a great weekend. I actually had a good weekend, funny enough. It was not the result I wanted, and to be fair, we'd already thrown the league away anyway. But it was great to finally meet you, mate, and it was great to see Forest fans. And it was great to see a football club enjoy what has been a tremendous season and tremendous end to a season. Unbelievable atmosphere in that stadium, fireworks going off, Steve Cooper going mad with the fans loving life. And we did our bit for the away fans as well. We weren't silent throughout, even though we could have been. We could have sat there on silence and got the ump, but we did our bit. And then I did my interviews afterwards. I got home and I had about 250 Forest fans follow me on Twitter, and I thought, what the hell was happening here? And it was, and then I got clipped up about me. Billy's gone again. That was me being clipped up talking about Forest and the atmosphere, and I just thought I just told the truth, really. But obviously, the amount of Forest fans that appreciate it was lovely to see. So it was all good, and I must say, Dave, you kept your manager, you stuck with the players. Got it right. He got it right. And you're the only ones down there that kept hold of your manager that hasn't ended up finding himself last day in a scrap. So, mate, you must be buzzing, bruv. You must be buzzing.
So proud, Dan. So proud. And I actually think, and I got really emotional at the time. You know, sometimes you think it's just football, but these football clubs are so much a part of our minds and our hearts. You know, and it was really emotional on Saturday tea time. And I think actually I would say it was probably even better than Wembley last year. I mean, that was fantastic. But to be able to do it against that caliber of opposition on our own ground was absolutely amazing. So I've just been listening to all you lads talking, and it's such a pleasure to listen to you. You know, you're all sound guys. You know, you all talk so well about your clubs. And I was always thinking about Oscar Wilde, you know, better to be talked about than not talked about. And I thought, no, you're wrong, because nobody's mentioned Forest until this point, and how lovely that is. How lovely not to be talked about for Nottingham Forest, right? And I'm so proud of like the owner for having the patience and the loyalty. I'm so proud of Steve. There's 30 strangers. Make them a cohesive unit. Use your social talents and your empathy to put those together. Make them all like you. He did it. Even the ones he's left out. Everybody was on the field. The wives and girlfriends were on the field. The little ones were kicking the football into the goal at the Trent, and it was wonderful to see. And it was a family thing. I was proud of the coaching staff, proud of all of our lads who all pulled together in very difficult circumstances, given the hardest task, I think, in this division. You got 2 months to prepare after a Wembley final. You have to completely, I heard the talk about Southampton rebuilding in the Championship, and should Leicester, the same fate befall them, Leicester would be probably better building in the Championship. And while I never seek to kind of, give it the delusion and the chest, we had to rebuild in the Premier League after 23 years of not knowing what it was all about. And we had to learn some hard lessons from the get-go at Newcastle. Wow, how good is this? How are we going to survive? So I couldn't be more proud of me, my owner, my manager in particular, who's a true gentleman. Doesn't wind anybody up, doesn't seek to look beyond the next game. If somebody's injured, he never makes a thing of it. Next man up, right? And Steve is the best thing that's happened to our club, probably since Frank Clark. That was good, but certainly since Brian. And I've been banging on, and now I'm vindicated, and Mr. Marinakis is vindicated, and all the thousands who've sung for him every game at the City Ground or away from home. And there are pockets of Cooper out, but they're usually, and they're entitled to their opinion, obviously, but they're confined to the corners of the internet rather than the corners of the City Ground, or whether it was Stamford Bridge the week before or whatever. So immense pride. And what I think we've won as a result, I mean, I've just written on my little pad here because I'm a bit of a nerd for making notes. And this is no disrespect to Locks and Ash, but Nottingham Forest are the champions of the East Midlands, right? Because we finished above Leicester City, Derby County, Mansfield Town, and Notts County. So that's something to build on, right?
It's true.
But I think what I think we've won.
Don't get a trophy for that, though, Dave. All right.
No. A sort of a cerebral, imagined one in here, Dan. But I think that what we've won is we've won now the chance to have some calm and some proper thought. The last 2 seasons, basically, we've been dragged along by the situation. So through the Championship, from the bottom of the Championship to the playoffs, it's almost a feeling of now, and relax. And hopefully there'll be some pruning, because it does need pruning. There'll be some proper thought. It won't be 30 darts thrown at a board. There might be 2 or 3, hopefully well-chosen ones. And we can, my touchstone through all of this is, and it's been Aston Villa, right? Because I look back to that season where Villa survived on the last day. Sorry, Sam. That day when Cherries were so excellent at Everton and were so harshly relegated, I thought. But I looked at Villa that day and I thought, if we can survive, I always, Dan, you know me, I've only ever said 17th. Only ever said 17th, mate. And if we can look at what Villa did. So I looked at the season after Villa survived by the width of a pubic hair, right? Or whatever it was. And Villa were then 13th or 14th, I think. And I that is what I want. I'd like us now to, we are going to be in the conversation, like Sam is going to be in the conversation, because people will look at, newly promoted sides who've got this second season syndrome cliche comes out, and it's probably relevant because, we've been on this roller coaster. There's a feeling of I'm not sure it's euphoria, because Steve Cooper won't allow that. Steve Cooper's already looking. He said on Saturday, now I can look to build again. So I think it's relief. And I think it's pride, but I don't think
he's going to be back, Dave. He's going to be backed because this guy's giving him loads of backing.
He has. And
I
think, Dan, I mean, there are some orders of business to be done. I think I'd very much like to go and sign Dean Henderson straight away. Dean Henderson was on crutches on the pitch at the end and in the changing room, and you wouldn't have known he was a Manchester United player. So I'd like Dean to come. I'd like Renan Lodi secured, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think Newcastle or somebody when you're an Atletico Madrid defender, you're always going to be prime real estate for a team, I think. So, there are some things to do, but it's this business now. It won't be as frantic or as chaotic or as really scattergun as it was last year. I mean, it started off sensibly and then it got silly. And I'm hoping that Steve and the recruitment team can sit down and do it in an ordered, thoughtful, mature fashion, because it started that way last year and then it developed into something else. But, it's just a great thing. And I tell you what I really was so proud of at the weekend from a supporter's point of view was listening to yourself, Dan, talking to Cecil, and I heard Robbie Lyle and I heard Lee Judges, and these are all guys who know their football and talk so eloquently about about football. And the first thing all of them said on their interview was about that atmosphere inside that stadium. And I'm telling you, I'm 60 next year and I've seen a hell of a lot of football. And I've seen a lot of great football and been to a lot of great stadiums. But without appearing tribalist or partisan. That was something else.
Yeah,
it was like, honestly, lads. Dan, you'll know because you were in the ground.
Yeah,
but
it was
it was like normally you get A block in the corner, and you get the corner of the Bridgeford where the away fans are. They're generally the ones. But it was all around the ground. And basically what would happen was if it went quiet, one part of the ground would stand up and start. And then it sort of went in waves. It was truly breathtaking. Not because it was, I think if I'd have been a neutral, it'd have been wow. But being emotionally invested in it and for it to mean so much it was a wonderful day.
It was
Absolutely
incredible.
wonderful
And
day.
fireworks were going off in the day. I couldn't see where they were going off. I could hear them.
I'm always a bit loath to do that because you don't want to be kind of, gloating or, I always think we should be magnanimous,
Yeah.
You deserve to this year, mate.
Man. It would have been criminal if you would have gone down, in my opinion. I think the fight you've shown has been superb, and I said that. I wanted you to stay up. I really did, and that game, and we rolled over. We were awful. It was terrible, but the title was done.
That, Dan.
The title was done anyway. It wasn't like Arsenal lost it to Forest. You deserved it. You beat us fair and square, man.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, Dan. I mean, I had the conversation. We were on Door's show last week, and dear old Kevin Campbell, what a lovely fella he is, he came on. And Kevin was kind of convinced that we would lose to Arsenal. It would go to the last day. What I'm so happy about is...
Oh, you've clicked yourself on mute somehow, Dave. I mean, that's magic. Well played.
Wandering hands. I'm like a dirty old man. Forgive me. You better edit that out. Actually, all I would say, lads, is that we were in the City ground getting ready for it, and I was very cautious, always very cautious. You look at Arsenal; they're a title contender, and the players they've got are fantastic. They're a better team than we are. And then we got this Everton equaliser come through, and everybody in the City ground knew about this Everton equaliser, and it was like, blimey. And then what we did, we dealt with it so brilliantly. We did our own business rather than thinking about what Leeds were doing or were going to do on the Sunday, and what Leicester were going to have to do on the Monday night, or what Everton had just done. So we finally asserted ourselves. It took us a long time to do it, but we finally asserted ourselves, and. It's just, I really feel for Lox and Ash, as I feel for Joe, and I feel for Rich and all the Everton people. I'm so glad we're not involved in it. Sam's had this feeling for a few weeks now, and great job by Gary O'Neill. And I do think we talked about Gary O'Neill in this. That I think Steve is in the conversation. I think Eddie Howe's the manager of the year.
Yeah,
that's what I think
well.
is the manager. Yeah, I think what he's done is astounding, right? And so let me just say this, Sam. That naughty shop in the Triangle is still there, is it, mate?
It's still there. But I agree with Eddie Howe, though. I do agree with Eddie Howe being manager of the season.
Yeah. I think what Eddie's done is amazing.
It will be Pep, but
it's always the guy who finishes top. But I do think that Gary O'Neill is in the conversation, and I know Sam and the boys on the back of the net have got reservations. I also think our guy, he won't get it, but I think he has to be in there to be just have 30 people chucked at him, and he's the way he's conducted himself. He hasn't wound Bournemouth up, he hasn't wound Leicester up. Whenever he's been given a loaded question about an opposition, I've seen every press conference this year. When he's been given a loaded question, he's deflected it because he doesn't want to bring anybody. Nobody. Steve Cooper hasn't said anything this year that another manager can pin on the wall and say, "Look what he said, lads." Do you know what I mean? So I'm hugely proud. As to the last day of the season, I honestly, if you'd asked me a couple of days ago, I could see a situation where all three of them won. Leeds, Tottenham are pathetic. Tottenham are just like what is the point of Tottenham Hotspur? Honestly, it's just like that's the club. He's going to come after you.
Keep going, Dave.
You're going to get
but I'm going to head him off at the pass by saying. Yeah, I'm going to head him off at the pass by saying how brilliant Dave Mackay was, how brilliant Danny Blanchflower was, how brilliant Jimmy Greaves was, how brilliant Les Allen was, Terry Dyson, Bobby Smith. These great Tottenham players. So he can't get at me there, right? So I think Leeds could beat Tottenham because I think the Ellen Road atmosphere will be too much for Tottenham. The only thing is with like West Ham and you lads, West Ham were kind of meant to roll over last week and didn't.
I didn't.
And what I think you can win at the King Power, and I honestly. I kind of hope you do, because you two are great lads and represent your club well. But there was a bit of footage of Moyes in the changing room after the game, and he was seriously fired up. Moyes was, right. So it's a very difficult game. And Everton, I mean, I've got a little bit of a connection with Everton, because obviously Dyche, Wone, and Stone were all Forest guys. But I think if Calvert-Lewin doesn't play, and I could see Bournemouth, like Sam's mentioned, I could see Bournemouth nicking one, because Bournemouth can just go and have fun in a big stadium, right? They can just go and play without any weight on their shoulders, you know. And if Bournemouth were to nick one, that lot in there are going to start getting really, really edgy and nervous. And I think, well, I do think their fans were fantastic last year and kept Everton in the league. They did amazing things. I just think the only thing I've said with Everton is that I feel there's a destiny about Everton with all this mismanagement of money, Kenwright, Mashiri, all this kind of stuff. And I've looked at Everton and think Everton are the next ones for that relegation, like Nottingham Forest had, like Derby County had, like Leicester City had, like Southampton had, like Sheffield Wednesday have had, like Sheffield United have had. You know, a big traditional club that is set for a relegation. And I just feel that, you know, I don't know, this Everton, I asked me 2 days ago, now Everton are all right, but I'm maybe still like listening to you lads, you know what I mean? I'm just not so sure that.
I just want there to be drama on the final day, because
you know,
like, I think if Everton score first, it'll kill it. But, you know, I want to be, you know, like hearing the crowd, you know, get excited at other stadiums and stuff. I want to be like having that, because that, you know, like that makes for a really good story on Match of the Day, where they're going between the different
and Sam,
games or whatever it is.
And Sam, you'll be in that ground, I guess, at Goodison, and I've been there myself, and it is a great atmosphere. I mean, it's a bit ramshackle and a bit rickety. It's a proper old-fashioned ground, but if Cherries score early, boy, are you going to have a ride on other people's nerves and misery, mate?
I don't like. Whether I'll do fan cams if we win outside. Not sure. I'll play close or something.
All I would say from a selfish point of view is that from a selfish point of view, I want Leicester to beat West Ham, because if Leicester beat West Ham and say Cherries lose at Goodison and we beat Palace, which is unlikely because they're a team full of £70 million players and they're a European power. Let me just say that. I mean, we're basically everybody at Nottingham Forest is going to Sellers Park on Saturday, and we're truly in awe of them as a club. They're one of the greats, really. So for us even to be on the same pitch as Crystal Palace, amazing. But sorry.
That was class. I didn't expect that. That was brilliant.
No. I was saving it up for you, Potsy. It's like stealth satire, mate. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean,
so the way I look at it is,
he is so deluded, isn't he? Bless him.
Oh, he'll murder me, mate. He'll murder me. But if we were to win at Crystal Palace, right? And sorry, Sam, you lose at Goodison, and my two Leicester mates over here do West Ham, we could finish 15th on 40 points.
That's mad.
And I'm just, you know, so, but the bottom line is it's lovely not to be involved in it.
Yeah.
And for that, I'm so proud of my club. And
man.
And also I get the very great privilege of coming back on here again next year. So, you know, again, being very selfish.
Yeah, but Dave, also, like, you know, do you think the gap between the Premier League and Championship might actually be getting smaller based on the fact that all three teams stayed up? The three teams that were relegated last season, only, you know, of course, Burnley ran away with it. The other two teams, Watford and Norwich, weren't even top 10. Do you reckon it's getting smaller?
On that evidence, Sam, yeah, you have to say that. You know,
he's bitten literally.
Yeah. So no, I think you probably got a point there, Sam, because like you say, I think it's one of only 4 Premier League seasons where the 3 promoted have managed to stay up. So maybe it is. I mean, you know, my first thought when I saw Burnley and Sheffield United and whichever of the 2 wins on Saturday is like, you know, they were all celebrating, and I was going, yeah, you're celebrating a relegation dogfight, because that's how I looked at Forest. You know, when we came up, I kind of thought we're going to be right in the mire to start with. So I think actually that's helped a little bit, because we were always in a mindset where we knew we were going to be in a battle. And I think, especially for Leicester, and this is no disrespect to them, they were 8th last season with a team full of guys who are international players. And I think the problem for Leicester has been having to kind of adapt to a situation and a scenario that they probably didn't envisage when they started out this season. You know, they've had this amazing halcyon age, haven't they? Leicester, champions, FA Cup winners, you know, a Champions League quarter-final, and then a European semi-final last year. And I think what's happened this season has been a real culture shock for them, you know. So, but I think you're right, Sam. It will be interesting to see whichever of the three go down, how they. I thought it was a huge gulf when I saw Newcastle on the first day of the season, but maybe it isn't. You know, I think where the gulf is getting, Sam, the gulf is getting between the top 7, if you like, and then the rest. I think that's where it's that. You know, what we talked about what Brighton and Villa have done to even be close to that lot. You know what I mean? I think they've been helped by the fact that Chelsea and Tottenham have had like no soul whatsoever, no kind of personality or character.
Good.
You know what I mean? But I don't know, mate. It's a good point you make, and you're probably right, Sam. Actually.
We'll see you next. See if these next 3 championship sides all stay up next season. I'll be amazed if that happens. Talking of championship sides, D, welcome, bro. How are you?
I'm fine. Well, I'm not fine. Dave, what's going? I thought we had that. Look, I haven't had breakfast yet.
Dave, my darling boy, it was just...
It's 7 p.m. I'm just having my breakfast at 7 p.m. I had plans. It got cancelled. It's been a long day. I thought, let me go open a 12-man podcast and let me listen to Dave speak some wise words. As soon as I turn it on, the first thing that Dave says is having a dig at Crystal Palace. What did I do to you? What did I do to you?
No, I was just quoting something I heard this week in the ether, mate.
What? Forest have stayed up now, and now it's time to have a dig at Palace. What's happening? One game after one game.
No, I don't know. I was just gently roasting you, only gently roasting you, D, because you know I love you to pieces.
Yeah,
and I know. Dor says, Dor says we're going to meet on Sunday, mate. So you get a big Dave hug, mate. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Look, hopefully, I get to meet you as well. I spoke to Dor today, and he's going to the game. He's excited about the game. But you know what?
Yeah, he's in the car with me.
Yeah. And we were talking about the game. We talk about how relaxed it is. But now we have to beat you 3-4-0. Why do you have to do that?
Hey, at least don't lose to like under 21s called PSV and all that stuff.
No, literally, look, I'm literally having my breakfast now. Like literally, I just went outside, got something. I haven't been able to eat, so I can't stay on for long. I just came home right now. But yeah, look, we lost the cup final yesterday. It's
Has Lawless mentioned that? D, has Lawless mentioned that at all? Do you know?
Oh, I mean, he's loving it. Watch when he loses a cup final. You understand what he means. But all jokes aside, I mean, PSV, they're absolutely nasty team. They're a nasty team to face. And honestly, I've never felt this way. We faced Brighton, we faced Millwall, but the disrespect I got from PSV under 21s is something else. It's something that I haven't seen before in a professional game. And I still can't get... No, literally, like we face all the teams like Charlton, Millwall, but no other players disrespected our team like this. But you know, they won. They were the best team on the day. We move on. But yeah, it was absolutely disrespect. It hasn't. Yeah, I'm a massive Ajax fan. Let's just say that I'm not a PSV fan.
D.
Yeah.
Your boys in the England squad today, mate. That's good for you, mate.
Yeah. Boys in England squad. Three of them, yeah. Sam Johnson over Jason Still, which is good to see because Brighton fans like that he's the next Manuel Neuer. Sam Johnson's there. Eze's there. Gay, he's there. I mean, 2 of those players that you was laughing about, £80 million. I mean, you know, 2 of them are in the England squad. But look, all jokes aside, I'm surprised about Eze being there. I thought it might not surprised, but due to his talent and what he's been doing. But I'm surprised about the timing because I thought maybe Southgate wants to see a bit more, but. Yeah, he's there. For me, Gay, he's going to be a future England player. He's going to be one of those that gets picked every single time. Sam Johnson's a massive shot for me. I did not expect that. I did not expect it. He's been playing well.
I quite like Sam Johnson though. He did
I do.
At West Brom, and then he's gone to you, and like he just disappeared with it. But
he didn't play for about 2 years, and he came to the side around April when Guaita got injured, and he's been playing and he's had some very good games, but. To be selected for England that quick, I mean, we see it with players that don't get selected for years. Once again, he's been playing in England itself before, but I don't think it was under Southgate. Maybe he has been under Southgate.
Yeah.
But yeah, literally, yeah. I'm looking forward to Sunday, and not because we're facing Forest, but because I want the season to end. Literally, I just want it to end. It's been a long season, and yeah,
I want it extended. Let's play some more football. Come on.
For Palace, it's been pointless. It's been pointless for the past like 4 or 5 games because we've stayed up and we haven't got much to play for. So as long as the season ends and then we build on for next season, that's what I care about. But yeah, Dave, I'm very upset by what you said. I thought I was backing
honestly
Forest all the way saying Forest should stay up.
Oh well, that's another bridge burned. I tell you what though.
Well, next season now. Next season.
Yeah.
You might have lost a few people. You're going to be.
The way I look at it, we haven't lost to Palace or Brighton this season, so maybe we're going to complete the set. I tell you what, Sunday.
I'm happy that Forest stayed up. I'm happy that.
Yeah, thank you, mate. It's going to be. I tell you what, Sunday. It's going to be great for us. It's the first football match for Nottingham Forest for a long time where we can literally relax and just enjoy what goes on. And, you know, we spoke about this earlier in the season, didn't we, Dee, about last day games at Selhurst, and they're often goal fests. So you could see Palace 4, Forest 4 or whatever, you know what I mean? So it's just going to be great to be there, mate.
We'll see. Let's come to a close. D, thank you for jumping on, mate. I hope you're okay. I mean, losing to PSV and Brighton are in Europe. That's a terrible end to the season for you, man.
It's better, trust me. It's better than being top of the league for about 200 odd days and being 11 points clear of City and losing the title like that. I'll tell you that. It feels better than that. But yeah, you're all right. Yeah, you're all right.
When you get in a title race, mate, let me come back to me. Yeah,
I mean, it's good being in a race, but if you don't finish in the race, then fair enough. And that is Arteta calling. He wants another 250 million pounds so he can compete with Man City. Not that you spent around 250 million already, but yeah, it is what it is, isn't it? You live and you learn. Next season, you hopefully finish top 4 for your sake. Forget about title race.
For my sake. Listen, you just concentrate on start moving from 13th and try to get back into that top half, my friend. That's all that matters.
That was Steve Cooper.
Yeah, Steve Cooper. He was coming to Palace.
He's saying to me, "Don't wind Palace up." So I've had to. I've just been told off.
Don't wind D off. He's saying, "Don't wind D up."
I can tell, Dave, you're excited about the end of the season. I mean, I've never seen you this like. You know, you always used to be like, "Oh, we take it game at a time." You know, great side. Palace are a great side. Forest is what Palace should be. And now all of a sudden you have to think like clubs and left, right. Fair enough. We're seeing the real Dave.
Way it is, man.
It's called speaking fluent Cooper. That's what it is, Dave. At the same time, what I'm really conscious of, D, is that we've got these two lovely Leicester lads in the middle who've got a lot of worrying to do before Sunday.
And we're laughing. We're laughing like the season's over. The season ain't over yet. I want Leicester to stay up. For the record, I want Leicester to stay up. I've said this before. I prefer Everton.
Yeah, I do. I think I want Leicester to stay up, but then I love Joe, you know. So
yeah, you want everyone to stay up until you guys stay up, and now the real Dave comes out and you start. yeah.
Mate, where was this guy on Sunday, man? I see Des, I see Dave, I see all the Forest fan TV. I never see Thor. Where the hell was he hiding, man? Come on.
He was enjoying himself. He was enjoying himself.
I don't know. He was
doing too much drinking, mate. That's what it probably was.
I saw him for a bit, and then what he does, he kind of shimmers into the distance. You know, so I think he's got his own TARDIS or something. Do you know what I mean? Up the door. So
fair play. Listen, we're gonna wrap it up. Big up Locks, man. Thanks so much for jumping on, brother. Hopefully we'll see you soon, mate. And Leicester can do the business, and you stay up, man. How can people follow you, bruv?
Yeah, Leicester Fan TV. I took a break from there, but I'm back now. So yeah, check us out. I hope to be back on the show at some point, maybe in a couple of years if things don't go well this weekend. So we'll see.
Fair play, man. Thanks for jumping on, bro. Dave, big up yourself, or Tywell. Much appreciate you for coming on as always. Sam, let them know, man. Let them know.
Yeah, we're back in the net, not back in the nest. By the way, D, we put a video out earlier. We do an away review for each Premier League ground we go to, right? We put them on a tier list. Palace was it was awful, man. It was bad. It scored really badly.
It's not meant to
I know.
be. You don't want to go,
but
that's what I'm saying.
Oh, it's bad, mate. But like terrible. But you know what? Like previously, it's been all right. Perhaps it's just one off. Like the toilets were flooded and everything. It wasn't a good one. But
what was it by? Was it by Bournemouth tears or was it by what was it?
Yeah, it probably was because that was a poor performance. I'll give you that. But anyway,
Sam,
it's back. Yeah, it's
thanks
back
for the
on
head
there
up.
anyway.
I'm joking.
AFC podcast and all that.
Thanks for the heads up for Sunday, Sam.
Yeah, it's enjoyable.
Go to the toilet before the game.
Man. Yeah, go before the game. Make sure you head over to Back of the Net and head over to the Back of the Nest as well. D, what you got coming up, bro?
We got PSV review. We posted that yesterday. My reaction from the game. If you want to go check it out. And yeah, after the game, we'll have like end of season awards. We're building up to next season, talking about players leaving. It's been officially announced that James McCarthy is going to be leaving the club after 9 years. Luka Milivojevic also leaving the club as well. That's been announced today. So yeah, there'll be lots of reactions and general Palace content as we build up to next season. It's done. This season's over, thankfully.
Wicked. D, thanks for jumping on, mate. Sam, always a pleasure. Locks, pleasure. Ash, thanks for jumping on, mate. And make sure you go follow Dave Asprey as well on Twitter. People, it's been a pleasure. We are going to be seeing you next week for the last one before we wrap up this season. There will be shows throughout the summer, of course, with all of these guys. But for these dedicated shows, next week will be the last one. So make sure you come join us for that one. Enjoy the rest of the night. Enjoy the rest of your week. We'll see you very shortly. And as always, up the Arsenal. Take care, people.
Eagles.